Leonard. He would say stuff like, "Where's that crazy Leonard? I just want to see him diving after people."
He was a starter, even though there were probably guys that were more athletic than him, but because he could just captain the defense. He would just call out the plays.
I hope it never happens, but we're all not doctors. I think in here, if someone said Jim,
none of us are Levac.
No, right, exactly. if someone told me, you know what, Jim Leonard might have CTE, I might say. Makes sense. I think
he gives CTE.
Yeah, I think both. Yeah, I kind of get that one.
All right. Why is the NCAA allowing Alabama and Clemson to schedule the Citadel and Mercer this late in the season?
I don't even think that's an NCAA thing. I think it's more of an athletic director thing. They say, look, we got the ACC, we're Clemson, we think everybody's going to want to beat us. We're Alabama, it's like Duke in basketball. You're going to storm the court if you ever beat us on the road. Why push yourself more than you have to avoid... It's like, look, you went to Albany. Will Brown says it all the time. Why would Syracuse schedule Albany if there's no benefit for Syracuse? Why would Alabama, besides the opening game like they played USC, and I can't remember who they played this year, but besides... Florida State, thank you. Yeah. Besides those games, what is a matchup against, I don't know, I'll just use Syracuse because they beat Clemson. Or Iowa State. What does that benefit Alabama? It benefits the other school, but there's no benefit. That's why it happens.
It does. I feel like it does benefit if you have a higher strength of schedule because you're playing these better teams. That's why Ohio State got in the playoff over Penn State because they played Oklahoma. Whether they won or lost, I feel like whether they beat or lost to Oklahoma, Ohio State would have been in ahead of Penn State because they tried. Penn State played Youngstown State.
I agree with that, but what hurts that and what hurts it overall is what we just watched here tonight, right? The College Football Playoff Committee, the top three teams are Alabama, Miami, and Clemson. We already went through the cupcakes Miami played. Alabama played Mercer, and Clemson's non-conference is okay because they played Auburn and others, but until the College Football Playoff Committee throughout this, and I get the point there about Ohio State and Penn State, but didn't Ohio State have one loss and Penn State had two, so they could regionally rationalize why they left one in over the other?
I feel like that would be a bad example because head-to-head Ohio State lost to Penn State.
Correct.
So I feel like that would have been or should have been the catalyst. What kept Penn State out is because they got blown out by Michigan. If they lost close to Michigan, I think it would have been a different story.
That's tough. 2-1, though, those losses. Is I think the best example we've ever had in the past, and this is way back when. Do you remember the year when Miami... I think it was Miami. I think Miami played Nebraska in the national title game, and Florida State had beaten Miami that year, but they also had one loss. That's way back when. I can get it. Penn State fans were heated that they didn't get in that year.
Oh, yeah.
But until I see one versus one, until I see one loss Ohio State get in over one loss Penn State, that's what makes that one so tough, man. And that's why it is. That's why they can get away with it, is because until the College Football Committee says to Miami, Baylor was the best example of this. Remember when Baylor used to schedule, the worst of the worst?
Washington. We'll use Washington. Washington scheduled Portland State, Rutgers, and... I think it was BYU.
And Geneva High School. I think all four of those teams wrapped around again. Yeah.
Well, modified.
Yes, modified. Yeah. The mini Panthers.
And Penn State's losses came early in the season, whereas Washington lost 3 weeks before the championship game to USC. So I feel like Washington did not have a reason to be in the playoff. It should have been Alabama, Clemson, number 3 Penn State by virtue of head-to-head for Ohio State.
Yes, I agree. Guys, sorry to cut you off too, but I'm going to go. As much as I love the Dan Tony Sports Podcast, as much as I'd love to stay with you guys longer, I will shout you guys out on Twitter. Thank you for having me. I'm going to be back. Thank you for the pizza and wings. Keep rolling.
Can I get one quick question?
Yes, one more quick question.
It's a Heisman question.
Oh, God. You're going to get me in trouble.
Yes, I am. Why do players like Rashad Penny not get more love?
Rashad Penny.
And specific to Rashad Penny.
Rashad Penny, the running back for San Diego State.
Yes.
Right?
He is the leading rusher in college football this year.
Yep. He is also, here's the problem with Rashad Penny, and then also Dontel Pumphrey from the year before, Jordan Lynch. What happens with these guys is this is how I vote, personally. The biggest game of the year, they have to be good. They have to be. The best times, if Rashad Penny in his 3 best games this season combined ran for 600 yards and 10 touchdowns, he would be in the mix. What sucks for him is that if he has one good game out of the 3, that's not good enough. That's what every Heisman voter, when they're going to watch him play, is going to look at the most important games of the season. And if those guys aren't good in those games, for me, it's hard for me to sit here and say it. And Donnell Pumphrey is the best example, the dude who did it last year.
He's the NCAA leader all time, taken from Curtis Martin.
Right, and last year at one point I had him in my top 3, and I said, hey, he's got to be in the top 3, he's really good. And then I watched him, recorded it, said, all right, here we go, Donnell Pumphrey, 11 o'clock at night, he's playing South Alabama, and he's got 50 yards on the game. I can't rationally say the kid who ran for 50 yards against South Alabama is going to win the Heisman Trophy. That's too tough for me to do.
Is that the game he got hurt and Rashad Penny had 170?
It might have been, but I can't say that Donnell Pumphrey... You know what I'm saying, though? Like, if Rashad Penny gets shut down by Wyoming and Saquon Barkley gets shut down against Ohio State, that is a significant difference of how people are going to view those running backs. Yeah.
All right.
That's fair enough. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, absolutely, guys. Shout out to all you guys. Shout out to everybody else who I haven't shouted out from Geneva on the podcast yet.
I think we had Tony Goldston a few weeks ago come in, and now we had you. So I think we're just going to try and make our rounds through the Death Wish Fantasy League.
Perfect. We're going to need more pizza for Levac if he's coming.
We'd more than pizza if it was him.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
Guys, that was Tom Goz.
Yeah, excellent.
Heisman voter, Hall of Fame voter, all-around good guy.
Yes.
Agreed. I hope we do get a chance to talk to him again, because I have more Heisman questions for him. I know there's things I'm sure he can't answer, but I have very broad questions that I wouldn't mind picking his mind over. Not to necessarily ask him specifically, just to get in the mindset more of people who have the ability to vote for such things.
Right. Right, which hopefully one day we will ourselves.
Ideally, that would be great, because I'm going to make a muck of it.
All right, guys.
And there goes my chance.
Yep. Let's continue on.
All right.
I can't edit anymore.
Yeah. Let's continue on. College football playoff predictions.
I'm hesitant.
It can change. It doesn't have to. It can change every week.
You know my lock, Clemson. Just putting that out there.
Dan Beebe thinks Clemson's going to win it all.
I want to see Wisconsin go for it. I want to see them. I think they're going to make top 4. I want to see them just take it to somebody. I don't know, who. If it's Bama, if they're number 4, then I want to see that game.
Yeah.
Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Oklahoma.
Those are going to be the way that I see it breaking down.
I don't know. Right now, I think, even though I agree that Miami's overrated, I think Oklahoma's also overrated.
I do too. I would ideally, however, I could break down from 1 to 4. Alabama has to play Clemson, 1 versus 4. Oklahoma plays Wisconsin. Championship game is Alabama against Wisconsin.
So, what I think is going to happen, the way I'm kind of looking at it, is that this ACC championship game that's going to be happening between Miami and Clemson is going to be a very good game. It could end up being overtime, 2 overtimes, and if it does, that really behooves both teams, because if they are just evenly matched and one team wins by 3, they both get in. I think that's what's going to happen. I have Alabama 1, Clemson 2, by virtue of winning. Miami 3, Wisconsin 4.
Okay. I can see the argument.
Mine's shaping up. But I could see Miami losing and just being right out. And then maybe, who knows, Auburn comes in. Maybe Georgia. Maybe
Auburn can't unless they beat Alabama.
Okay.
Because then they'll be a 3-loss team.
I mean, personally, I hope every team in the top 10 loses and Ohio State just keeps winning.
Ohio State and Wisconsin are the 2 teams in the Big Ten championship. That is determined.
Ohio State clinched it last week. I mean, that being said, to me, my biggest game for the remainder of the year is because I could see things going wrong for Ohio State, because when they go wrong quickly. We saw it in Penn State. We saw it
in Iowa.
we saw it in the Oklahoma game, and we saw it in the Iowa game. So I could see if they get into that situation against Wisconsin, that seems atypical for a team that I follow. That being said, a game that matters to me as far as Ohio State,
Michigan
is this week. That's all that matters to me right now. Because, listen, we always come into the year with the expectation of a national title. That being said, if that's not out of the possibility, there's only one game that matters, and it's this week. That's it. Right now, they're removing M's from the Ohio State campus right now.
Yes.
They're covering all of them up on campus right now.
That's awesome.
I hope that changes. I hope that Ohio State goes on to win like the next 8, and Penn State and Ohio State exchange, because I think Ohio State Penn State's much more compelling of a rivalry.
Yeah, I hope that team that sucks becomes worse than Rutgers, but it's probably not going to happen.
Okay.
I find that very difficult, but I hope it happens. Because, I mean, other than that, it gives me more ammunition to tell Nate that he sucks.
Yes, and that's what we want. That is what Dan Beebe brought that up.
What, Nate sucks?
No, about how he's excited for this game because of you and Nate.
Oh yeah. Oh no. My house is not going to be it's not going to be a pleasant environment on Saturday. I can assure you this. If he's there, it's going to be worse.
If I wasn't busy with a Friendsgiving, I would 100% just sit on your couch eating popcorn.
Absolutely. The most entertaining part would be the back and forth between me and him. He's gonna walk in, he's gonna tell me my team's trash, and then I'm hoping to stand there and going, "What's happening? What is going on? Did you guys forget that you had to play?"
They did against Penn State.
Well, they did against some other teams this year too. They have not been looking very good. Although I can't really blame that entirely. When you lose that many people in the NFL draft, I mean that's pretty hard to deal with.
Oh, absolutely. All right, let's see. I had some more questions for Goz that we didn't get to. Doesn't make sense to ask you because you're not Heisman voters. Not yet. All right. So
I'll answer them anyway.
Okay. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck Alabama beats Auburn?
16.
16. Okay, perfect.
I guess my other question was, as far as Michigan and Ohio State, how much beer are we talking during the game?
Him probably none. Me, it depends on how the game goes.
Yeah. It depends on how the game goes.
That's going to be. I don't have an efficient answer for you. I can assure you that I'll have a supply.
It's either going to be 10 in happiness or 10 in sorrow, but it's 10 either way.
It's a lot if it's Ohio State winning. It's a lot more if it's Ohio State losing.
The real question is going to be, where do the cans go? Do I recycle them or do they throw them at Nate's head?
Nate's head. Yeah.
Well,
that's a good point.
I'll be stocking up on the dilly dilly.
Dilly dilly. Yeah. Yes. All right.
Did you see the meme regarding that commercial? Where it's like, who hasn't won a Super Bowl? And it's a guy holding it up, and he's like, Philly, Philly.
That's great. That is great.
Billy.
Yeah, that's true. The Bills. Yeah. I had a long speech prepared for Tom Goz about the Knicks because he's just been hating on the Knicks.
Oh, has he? Oh,
he has.
We should have talked about them.
Yeah, he has because he's a Carmelo fan. All right.
Carmelo hasn't been doing... Well, I guess he's been okay at OKC, but...
He's been okay, see?
Puns.
Oh, yes.
But the Knicks look better off.
So I'm going to read that anyways, and then I'm going to find... Because YouTube, we upload to YouTube, and... for whatever reason, Spreaker just breaks it down into parts. I'm going to find the YouTube clip where I read this, and I'm going to send it to him. All right. I have, not even kidding. It's a full-page speech. Page and a third.
Let's do it.
The Knicks are playing better than expected. I know somebody who was in this room isn't going to like hearing this, but it's because Melo is gone. Do they miss his scoring? Sure they do. Do they miss his attitude? Especially about what really matters? Wins? No. Melo cared way more about what people thought of him than he ever did about the Knicks winning and the Knicks' success. He didn't care about being a top 10 team, but he sure as hell cared that he wasn't a top 15 player. His priorities were so out of whack that his demeanor completely killed the Knicks. This team, the Knicks this year, they're fresh, they're youngish, and they're clearly much hungrier much more willing to fight